Call for leads to the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
On the side of the men and women in the armed forces, our first responders, those fighting a good fight in Ukraine, who suffered from the military conflict in the Middle East. Thank you. And Marie?
Okay, do I have any nominations to elect a moderator?
Nominate Mayor Bass.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Pete.
Thank you, Marie. I'd like to call this town meeting to order and reading the warning notice for the special town meeting, December 9th, 2024. Those qualified to vote in the town meetings in the town of New Milford are hereby warned and notified to meet at the New Milford Town Hall, 10 Main Street, New Milford, Connecticut, on December 9th, 2024, at 6:30 p.m. at E. Paul Martin Room, for the following purpose to wit, to consider and act upon the following questions. Shall the town of New Milford reallocate and expand COVID relief American Relief Rescue Act funds received from the United States Treasury and expand the funds from the town capital reserve as follows? For the reallocation of the American Relief funds to be closed out. Fire Marshal 567163, Town COVID ARPA 71,219.3, Child Care 64,019, Arts ARPA 65,832.53, Butterbrook Roof $6,424.24. Addiction Services, this was supplanted by the opioid settlement fund account, $24,000. Reallocated $40,000 for the Northfield Firemen's Turnout Gear, which is partial. $47,279.82 for the Water Witch Radio Gear. $40,000 for the payment to the Fire Department request, which is partial. $42,605.79. Milford Ambulance request, which is partial. The homeless shelter for $30,000. YA Mental Health for $43,656.38. Social Services Good Samaritan $64,019. Request for appropriations from the capital, town capital reserve. The DPW M2 106 plow truck, $225,000 plus the local radio up $1,600, which is $226,600. DPW drainage projects, $400,000. Tax assessor, which is $119,500. The Max refrigerator, $3,553.90. New Milford ambulance, $5,418.27. Taylorsville Fire Department, $33,528.10. Northville Fire Department, $20,887. And the Milford Police Department camera project, $38,746.41. And the Town Hall camera project, $49,900. Total request is $898,135,071 out of the town capital reserve. Copy of the said proposed expenditures are on file and available for public inspection at the office of the Milford Town Clerk, dated the Milford 4th day of December, which is authorized by Town Council. Anybody from the public that would like to speak before the town meeting?
Ms. Hillary Ram.
Okay.
Hillary Ram, 154 Guernsey Lane. I'm just here for one reason. It's very clear. I just think that the request for the appropriations. Well, first, I have a question about the reallocation. There's a differential between what was returned and what was allocated of 70,000. So I just was curious: is that rolling into the capital reserve request, that 70,000 difference between what was returned and what you're asking for on this? That's one question. And the second question was, or the second reason that I'm here really is to just put on the record that I think that these appropriations to come out of the town capital reserve are fiscally irresponsible. I think we've had an influx of funds. These are budgetary. They should have been in the budget and in the capital requests. or put them in next budget. This is a time when we don't know what's coming. Tax things could change, the municipal tax things could change with the new government. We don't know where we're headed with, bond rates. So this is not the time to spend another $1 million in capital reserve. Why were these not in the budget? I can understand if it's an emergency situation, like on 202, the drain that's overflowing in the building is, maybe they've left because of that. I don't know what that situation is. But if there's, something that comes up, which I think we approved, right? 89,000 we approved for fixing that drain. So anyway, to make a long thing short, and I think this requires more than 5 minutes to really deep dive into all of this, but $1 million on top of our budget, on top of a $5 million ask for Lanesville Fire Department to be built, that's going to be bonded. So this is $6 million on top of a budget. This is not fiscally responsible. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else who would like to address town meeting? So I'm going to address the town meeting myself. I fundamentally wholeheartedly disagree with what Ms. Graham said. I think this is prudent business, which is why we have a AAA rating. If you deep dive into our capital reserve, most of the funding came from additional revenues, unexpected revenues. And we've talked about this many times on town council. And Mayor, I'll give you an example, because you were mayor. So for instance, we received almost $1 million more last year because of interest rates. And you can't budget interest rates because interest rates fluctuate. That wouldn't be prudent at all. Because if you have it lower than your anticipated revenue, because you forecast higher interest rates than what the market's bear, you'd have a hole in your budget. Also good news, we had a great year last year with our building inspections. We had great revenue with Noreen, thank you, with our conveyance fees, showing a strong economy for New Milford. So what do you do with that money that's unanticipated? Right? You buy capital items. That was connotated by our bond council. That was connotated by our investors. So much so, it's AAA rating. Because you're taking money, right, that was unanticipated, that didn't come out of the taxpayer's wallet, and you used it for capital that you're going to have to pay for anyway. These trucks, these radios that our first responders absolutely need, is a prudent investment for a couple of reasons. One, we have inflation. So if you don't buy them today, you're going to have to pay more for them 6 months or a year. That's not fair to the taxpayer. Number two, right? This money came from prudent planning. And some of these things you talk about aren't emergency related. Absolutely they're not. That's why we plan for them. We plan for these things. So instead of hitting the taxpayer again, imagine Chris, if I went to the taxpayer and I said, I've got $5 million sitting in this capital reserve account, but I'm going to tax you again for this truck that I could buy this way, or I'm going to tax you for that. So already a stressed homeowner, already a stressed business is going to have to pay more in taxes. So the bonding company thinks we're great. The investment community thinks they're great. And we're not the only town, ladies and gentlemen, that budgets like this. When you have good revenue that comes in unanticipated, the best thing to do, you can do, is purchase much needed capital. And for those of us that have been here for quite some time, I'm sure the ambulance, the firemen that are here, I see Chuck back at DPW, these are things you guys need. Stuff you haven't had for a while or continue to need as our equipment ages out. And some of this stuff, for instance, I'll give you on the request for the camera project at the police department. It's aging out. We planned for that, right? So it still works, but the good opportunities we can use the capital reserve that we have, not put it in a budget to increase to the taxpayer, and use it from the unanticipated revenues that came because of a good economy here in New Bedford. So I fundamentally disagree with that. I think this is a great way to go for the town to continue to work on its capital requirements and capital plans. The best way forward, as we know, there's going to be more needed things, whether it be our bridges, whether it's going to be the Lanesville renovation project, because they came before the town council, or finance, municipal building company, a building committee, and they talked about the needs, right, of the community. And one thing I do know, I'm not a fireman, right? But I can tell you one thing, I've seen what they did. I've seen when we had emergency situations, they're the first one that comes. I've seen that, and if those experienced firemen say, we need a renovation of a building, well, that's what we need to do. Follow their expertise. So myself, as Pete Bass, resident of 31 Mountain Road, I'm gonna be voting in favor of it, Mayor, that's for sure. Okay. So, anybody have any other comments? Chris?
Yes, I'd kind of like to reiterate some of your comments. I mean, first of all, you and I have talked about every item on this list. And everything I've seen on this list is a need, not a want. And yeah, it's a lot of money, no doubt about it. But I think this process that we're using here, using capital reserves to pay for this, calling it fiscally irresponsible, is quite frankly laughable. This is the way it should be done. This is the way businesses do it. This is the way, in my 5 years on this council, this is how we've done it. And as you mentioned, this process has led us from a AA+ rating to a AAA rating that this town's never seen in its history before. And that gives us better bond ratings. This improves our fiscal future by sticking to this practice. So I'm firmly behind this, and I think this is the right way to go.
Chris, I think just for the record, could you give your address? I don't know.
Yep, oh, sure, 143 Sunny Valley.
Katie?
Katie Francis, 123 Kennedy Mountain Road. Beside the items that some may think frivolous, I think we have pushed across and given money towards a lot of very important things. Not just the police department, not just the fire department, which heaven knows we want both of them to be there. But there's mental health for the youth agency. That's a very important item. Social
We
services.
stood up, during COVID, we stood up a free clinic for those children that needed mental health services. Jason is right there, he can tell you, we set that up to help those in need. They're still in need, especially coming out of hybrid and remote work.
That's right. We have the Social Services Good Samaritan Fund, which helps many people. Then you can jump up the Butterbrook roof. Okay, well, so they could put another tarp on top of the first tarp to keep the rain from coming in. But I mean, if you look at this addiction services, these are ARPA funds that we're reallocating. So I think this is all good stuff. If you want to say anything, I don't know, I heard somebody mention a drainage project. Well, I guess if you don't live on the road where the drainage isn't working, you probably don't think it's worth it. However, I think, as Chris said, council members have gone through this and we've all seen what the needs are. You've made a good point of putting the things that will only cost us more in the future. They're on here now, and I'm 100% in favor of the council doing this.
And I know the rabbi's here as well, and we're paying our share to
Correct?
help, as we do have homeless
That's
that
right.
actually use the services of the shelter. And the thing I love about the shelter is they're trying to find permanency from those that are homeless. So I think it's great that we do our part with that as well. And that's another good use of youth relief funds.
All very important things.
Could I just ask
Absolutely.
a question? So it says the money for the addiction houses is being returned, so that's in the return column?
Correct.
But I know that that money was fully spent, so can you explain sort of
Sure.
how this is working?
So Scrivener error was put on repeatedly twice.
So the total
Counted
that we gave was
twice.
33,000.
Correct.
33,000 was the total that the Dignity Houses got. So was that 33 returned?
No, 33 they spent.
Correct.
But on the list that we were going through, that was
It's on here as part of your
the
spending.
24,000 was put on there as a request. So we looked through all the stuff to see there's a $24,000 request. And we're reappropriating that because we have the opioid settlement.
Oh, I see. You can
300,000.
double on your
Right.
total list. I got you.
Right.
Thank you.
Does anybody else have any other questions? I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the reallocated ARPA and town capital reserve funds as presented on the board.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. All those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Opposed.
Okay. One opposition. I'd like to entertain a motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Regular town council meeting at 7 o'clock tonight.